everyone, and welcome back to another video. It's Arden and you're watching Why Book Princess. Today I'm drinking Sladki Mushkat, which is a wine, my favorite wine. My best friend and I shared the love for this wine, drinking it in her honor. It's no secret that this year I'm on a book buying ban and I'm trying to get through my physical library. I am also trying to get through the books that I own on Kindle. Obviously there are so many books that I own that I'm just probably definitely not going to be reading all of them this year, but as many as I can get through, that is perfectly fine. I am going to be doing an unhaul and the recently DNF'd books. First of all, like I said, I have been documenting all the books that I own on my Kindle, and there's a lot of books. So in January I read a book called Knowing Me by Delphine de Vigan, and that is a book that I had in physical copy. I've decided to give it away to a friend because I personally don't think that I would be reading it anytime soon or ever again, and I rated it 3 stars. I liked it, but I just thought that somebody else would benefit from having it more than I did. I just didn't want it on my bookshelf. Now the next few books that I'm giving away to the same friend is The Jewel, The White Rose, and The Black Key. This is a series that is written by Amy Ewing. I read the first book, and last year I also read the 2 novellas before the first book, but I have decided I have no interest in finishing the series. I have decided there's only so many books that I can read in a year or in my lifetime, and I just want to focus on the ones that I enjoy, and these are not the ones that I have any interest in reading, but I think my friend might enjoy them, or at least enjoy owning them. And as I mentioned, I have my wrap TBR where, you know, all the books that I need to read are wrapped, and this was one of those books that I have decided to simply not finish. Not necessarily because it's bad, but because I have no interest in reading. And that book is The Second Mrs. Darcy by Elizabeth Aston. I don't have any interest in reading it. This is the 4th book in the series. I don't know where or who I'm gonna give it to, probably a library or something if they want it. I have no interest in reading this, and I don't really want to own it or have it on my bookshelf if I don't need it, you know. Now these next few books may not be in any particular order, but I'm just gonna talk to you about them. I have been going through my Kindle library, like I said, and I've been picking up books trying to decide if there's something that I'm interested in, because usually if they're free, if the first sentence or the first 2 sentences are interesting, I will haul them, and then later on when I start reading them, we'll decide if, you know, I want to read them. Now this is one of those books, All of Me by Heather Lee Bell. There's nothing wrong with it, I just don't have an interest right now at the moment in reading it, and I've just decided to unhaul it because I have so many other books. It doesn't, you know, interest me right now. It might in the future, and I might haul it then, but as for now, I don't want to have it in my library unless I really want to read it. The next book I've had for quite a few years. It is called The Trouble with Flying by Rochelle Morgan. This book is a book that I have read. I think I rated it 4 stars at the time. This is such a cute book, but I didn't read the second one or continued on with the series. It's really cute, but as I read it, I realized that I'm not gonna reread it again. I would never reread this book. I would just rather continue with the series, and I don't really want to own it because I've had it for so many years and I know that I'm never gonna pick it up again. So I decided to unhaul it, but it is definitely a book that I really enjoyed reading. Next is a book that I have actually DNF'd 78% through. I just didn't care about the ending. I didn't care about anything else. I've come for the story, decided that this isn't my cup of tea, and only stuck it out until something happened, something that I wanted to see happen, and then I decided I'm just gonna unhaul it because I don't care enough to continue and, you know, finish it until the end. Now this book is called Crown Jewels by Ella James, a book that I have DNF'd, but I'm counting it as a read because I read, I think, 260 pages out of 333. You know, it's a book that I'm counting as a read, but it was a DNF, and now it's an unhaul. Moving on, this was also a DNF, but it is a shorter book, so I did not count it as a read book. It is called Baby Wanted by Roxy Wilson. Now this month I am going through mostly my romance phase again, and I've decided to pick this book up. It just wasn't what I was expecting or wanted. My grandma called, but anyway, as I was saying, I decided to give it a try. It wasn't what I was looking for at the time, or it wasn't something that I thought that I would enjoy, and so I just DNF'd it, and now I'm unhauling it or deleting it from my Kindle library. But if this is something that you might want to read, it's free, like all the rest of the books on this list. Now this next one I've also decided to start. I did get about 11% through this book. It is Part-Time Lover by Lauren Blakely. It is, again, a free Kindle book. I didn't like the start, the beginning of the book, so I decided to put it down and just not pick it up again. And you know, I'm just doing a spring cleaning of my Kindle library, and yeah, that is the reason why I have not finished it and why I'm unhauling it. The next book I picked up is Trusting You by Kathleen Allison, and this one, along with All of Me, I have decided to give a few pages a try. By how the description sounded, it just didn't seem like something that I would currently enjoy, or it wasn't something that I was looking for, so I decided to unhaul it again. As with all of these books, I just, you know, I don't have time for books that I don't want to read, and that's that, just spring cleaning. Moving on, there's One Way In by Matthew Aaron Browning. I read this book. I think I gave it 2 stars. I read it for my Queer No Fear readathon. This is a very short story, and it felt more like product placement. Yeah, I didn't really care for it. Another book that I decided to read for Queer No Fear readathon is Sleepwalking by Cara Malone. Again, I've read this book already, don't really want to have it in my library anymore, and so I'm unhauling it because I'm not gonna reread it again. Moving on, I read The Magical Femme by Fiona Zed. This was, again, for the Queer No Fear readathon, and I rated it 2 stars, so I'm unhauling it because I'm not gonna read it again. And the same goes for The Stranger by Mary Black Rose. Read it for the Queer No Fear readathon, rated it 3 stars, not gonna read it again. And the last book that I finished for the Queer No Fear readathon is A Cupid in London by Tom Cavell, 2 stars, unhauling it. Moving on, we have 2 graphic novels that I read in January. One is Blackbird by Sam Humphries and Jen Bartel, I think. I don't have it written down. And the second one is Monstrous by Marjorie M. Liu, Sana Takeda. And these are the 2 graphic novels that I have decided to unhaul. I rated them both 3 stars. Another book that I have read in January is Law of Attraction, which I'm also unhauling, by Daniel De Polonio, and I am also unhauling NDEs. I'm also unhauling Lucid Dreaming Life and John Proctor, whatever that book was. So these are all the books that I read in January that I am not gonna read again. And on that note, I'm also unhauling The Imaginary Friend by Kelly Hashway. Again, I read it, I'm not gonna reread it, so I'm unhauling it. And the last book that I'm unhauling is a book that I filmed a video on. It is called My Best Friend's Brother by Alexis Winter. It is a book that I have made a video on, and I buddy read this with Shanice Noel, also a booktuber. And yeah, I think I gave this book 3 stars. Yeah, just I read it. I've had it in my Kindle library because I thought that I was gonna reread it, but then I decided to give other books a chance, and I realized that I didn't really like it as much anymore, or at least it wasn't as good, because back when I started reading this book, I was fairly new to romance books on Kindle, and so I thought, okay, this isn't really that bad. But now that I read a few more books, yeah, it's not my cup of tea. I don't think I will be going back to it anytime soon. It is a very low 3-star rating. Yeah, just don't need to read it. And those are all the books that I am unhauling. My 2021 unhaul video, I guess, my first one. I hope you enjoyed. If you would like me to talk more about Kindle books, because I am kind of reading on Kindle a little bit more, please let me know. I will be happy to, you know, do more videos like this and talk more about Kindle, because I don't tend to talk about Kindle books enough. I mostly go on about my physical TBR. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!